Hi, I'm Jody McInerney. I'm a graduate student at Boise State University, earning a certificate in games and simulations. And I'm here to present you some ideas about how to integrate game-based learning into your higher education course. The objectives of this presentation is for you as an instructor to appreciate the benefits of integrating games into and game-based activity into your course in terms of the engagement of your adult learners, their motivation, and their persistence in the course. An additional goal is for you to be able to choose the style of game to use based on your educational purpose and goals. And a third objective for this presentation is to provide you with resources, both games that you can use immediately or modify, and templates that you can use to create your own games. So why use games? Well, normally at this point in the presentation, I would add a link to a word wall or some sort of website where you could actually express your ideas about why you think it would be beneficial to use games. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and give you my ideas. So a big reason is because a lot of the students in college now are digital natives. They grew up playing video games. They're familiar with the different types of games, the themes, the stories, and a lot of them have spent hours and hours playing games for enjoyment. And so that means that when they come to a game-based activity, it intrigues them, especially if it gives them a problem to solve or a storyline that's interesting, that engages them in the activity. It motivates them to learn the content that's presented, and it encourages them to persist in the course. So I've adapted 3 steps for integrating game-based learning into a course from the 5 tips for implementing game-based learning website. There's a link there for you to view in more detail. And we're going to spend most of our time on the first step, which is deciding the instructional purpose for using games. And then I'm going to show you some examples of games that you can use for different instructional purposes. So we'll go over 3 different purposes and then the games that would be appropriate for them. Once you've chosen a game, then it's important that you play the game yourself so that you're comfortable that if they're appropriate for your level of students, for adult learners, and also that they do in fact achieve the instructional objectives that you're hoping to accomplish. And then the third thing is, once they're using the games, it's important to assess the progress and performance of the students in the games. And I'm going to show you some ways to do that as well. So the first instructional purpose that we're going to talk about is enrichment, which is when you're presenting information in an alternate format, it encourages exploration of the content, which is something that is really motivating for adult learners. And one way of doing that is through interactive presentations. And when it comes to being game-based, that is in particular incorporating some adventure scenarios. So let's look at an example of one of those. This is an adventure interactive presentation on cognitive bias, and they're using the contents of a monastery. And if you look, the learner clicks, and then it gives you the purpose of the presentation: to rid yourself of cognitive biases. There's humor in this. There's intrigue, because as you're stepping through, you're encountering characters and deciding when to move forward. So you get to move forward at your own pace, and it provides a context for learning the content. So if we move forward, we start to see some of the information and background knowledge that the learners should always have. So for example, it talks about the bystander effect, and there's a link if a person not really sure what that is, they can click on and see a description of that in Wikipedia. And then they can move forward to the next step, and it actually gives them some graphs. So there's a variety of things that you can incorporate when you're creating a game, developing a game. But in the context of an adventure scenario, that kind of motivates them to continue moving forward and spend more time reading and processing the information than they might otherwise. So another way of incorporating game-based learning for enrichment is through the use of visualizations, and these can be games or simulations. So one of the great websites to find games and simulations is called Explorable Explanations. It links you to other websites where they have games that you can sometimes edit or simply use, and it's got them organized by topical categories. And the other great thing about this website is that it's also got tools that you can actually edit and modify. And again, these are all things that you'll find on another website. Loopy is one example of a really effective visualization tool. So for example, in ecology, there's different feedback loops that students can explore. And you could actually have students either edit and modify the diagrams that are provided, the examples, or you can do it and so you can create a blog that has the simulations embedded in there for them to play with and modify and edit. You could have them do it as a collaborative classroom activity. There's just a variety of ways that you can incorporate these simulations, and some of these are games as well to really benefit and support students in learning. Okay, so the third type of an enrichment game-based activity that you could incorporate are branching scenarios. One way that you can incorporate scenarios where you can make choices is through an investigation game. So here's so there's some templates for that on the Slides to Go website, where they basically give you the crime scene. This one is built in the context of deciding which planet among the possible suspect planets is the criminal. You could also use case studies. So there's a Google Slides or PowerPoints templates that you can use to create interactive case studies. So this one's Defense Against Viruses. And again, you can download and use these for free. Finally, game-based learning can be used to reinforce skills through drill and practice activities, practice assessments. You can also do game-based quizzes, and you can do this for individuals or groups of students. One of the websites that allows you to do this is Purpose Games. So Purpose Games has games in a variety of categories, and it allows you to set up groups of students and hold tournaments. And the students can then either test their skills individually with different types of games, or collaboratively. And if you notice, there's skills and rankings that as a student plays a game, They can actually try to replay to improve their score if they didn't score well on a particular topic. So there's a lot of labeling games where they can choose to label a skeleton, their anatomy and physiology, for example, parts of the skeleton, parts of the different parts of the body. And they are often timed so that the student can see how, because a lot of tests in science-based fields tend to be timed. And so this is kind of a way for them to practice labeling parts and doing it over and over again to really solidify the connections between the visuals and the terms for these different things. So the different types of features that I just showed you can be motivating for different types of learners. So having them timed, having a scoreboard, trying to beat their previous score. There are certain, learners that enjoy competing, that enjoy those types of games. Another way that you can use game-based learning is for interventions. So when you collect data from websites like the Purpose Games website allows you to collect data. There's other websites that allow you to collect data as the students play games. When you collect that data, it allows you to see the topics where students are struggling and how they can, how you can provide intervention on those specific areas. So in conclusion, to incorporate game-based learning into your course, you can find games from the many websites out there, or use templates to develop your own. Once you have your games, play them to make sure they're a good fit for adult learners and that they meet your instructional objectives and goals. And then collect data on the games to see if they're effective for supporting students in learning. So, like I said, if you can't find a game that quite fits what you need, then feel free to create your own, and I will provide further videos to more specifically go through steps of how to create some. Thank you.